Okay, so we did our double angle identities. Now we have half angle identities. The half angle identities allow us to express half of an angle in terms of the angle itself. They're a bit more difficult to prove, but not too bad. However, they're more difficult to use and more difficult to memorize. So they're more difficult to use because of the plus or minus on the sine and cosine pretty much, and we'll talk about that in a little bit when we're trying to do one. But to verify the half angle identity, we're going to start with the cosine, the double angle cosine identity. So cosine of 2 theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta. So we're going to use that. So let's assume let theta equal x over 2. So we're going to go with an assumption. That way, going from that 2 theta is going to equal x. You're not going to be responsible for this proof, just so you know. This is just proving it so that we can use it. All of the proofs kind of work the same way, but this is just good practice on proofs. So we'll start with there. So if 2 theta equals x, then using this right here, then the cosine of x equals, oops, this is 1 minus 2 sine squared, sorry. 1 minus 2 sine squared x. Okay, so cosine of x equals 1 minus 2 sine squared of theta, but we're going into x's now, so theta is the same as x over 2. We're trying to get sine x over 2, right? So we're going to solve for sine. So to do that, you're going to move cosine of x minus 1 equals negative 2 sine squared x over 2. Divide both sides by negative 2 because we're trying to get sine squared by itself. So you have you have cosine of x minus 1 over negative 2 equals sine of x over 2, and that whole thing is squared, right? Sine squared is the same thing as the sine of the whole thing squared. So square root it to get it by itself. I'm going to rewrite this without the negative on the bottom, so this is going to be a positive 1 minus cosine of x over positive 2. And then a plus or minus square root equals the sine of x over 2. And we have our formula. So it matches. Okay? All right, so let's look at using it. Find the sine of 22.5 in exact form. We want to use the formula, so the sine of x over 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 1 minus cosine of x over 2. So we need to keep that in mind when we're doing this. So the sine of 22.5 is the same as the sine of 45 over 2, right? So 45 over 2 is 22.5. So we're going to use this half angle formula, letting x equal 45 degrees. Okay, so when you get an angle that you don't know how to do, you have to figure out the double or the half, so 22.5 doubled is something that I know. If I was given something bigger that I didn't know, I could half it and use the double angle formula, if that makes sense. So my formula, the sine, okay, we're going to pause it. So we're going to do the sine of 45 over 2 degrees over 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 1 minus the cosine of x, which is 45 degrees, all over 2. We're going to simplify and rationalize the denominator, and then we're going to deal with the plus or minus in just a second. So that gives you, that gives you plus or minus the square root 1 minus the cosine of 45, which is root 2 over 2, all over 2. So you have everything's under the square root. So let's write that better so you can see that everything is under the square root. The square root of all of that. So there are a couple of ways to rationalize this. You can get a common denominator on the top and combine it and then multiply everything by 2 over, or 1 over 2 and do that. I think the easiest way to do this, we want to work under the square root the whole time. And I have another example that's going to show you this also. But if you multiply by the common denominator on the top and on the bottom, so if I multiply this whole thing times 2 over 2, that's going to deal with the denominator on, like, we're still inside the square root, and that's going to deal with the denominator on the top, and if there was a fraction on the bottom, you would want to make the denominator for that too. And that's going to give us plus or minus the square root of, we have to distribute this in, 2 times 1, which is 2, minus 2 times root 2 over 2, which is root 2, all over 4. And that was nice. That worked out nicely for us because now 4 is a perfect square and we can take that out and then our denominator is rationalized. So you get plus or minus the square root of 2 minus root 2 all over 2. And we have this nested root, this root inside a root, which is fine. Now, the plus or minus we have to figure out. So I'm trying to find the sine of 22.5 degrees. So this half angle, like, right, this is 45 right here. Let me erase that. That's 45. 22.5 is half of that, right? So 22.5 is right here. It's in the first quadrant. So the sign in the first quadrant is going to be positive. So we're not going to do the negative. We're just going to do the positive. So my answer is the square root of 2 minus root 2 all over 2. That is your answer. Okay, so we should be okay for this next example. I think I'm going to try to do 2 more. Note, double angle identities did not use us to add any more angles to the unit circle. However, the half angle identities allow us to add 22.5 and 15. If we have those two, then if we really wanted to, we could do 11.25, 7.5, blah, 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 blah. So there are lots more that we could do using half and double and addition and subtraction and all that. So, in order to decide whether to use plus or minus from the formula, you need to use the angle to figure out which quadrant the half angle is in. So this first example says determine where theta over 2 is located and whether sine of theta over 2 is positive or negative, given that your original angle is between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So here's 3 pi over 2, right? This is 3 pi over 2, and here's 2 pi. So my original angle is somewhere in the fourth quadrant. Now, if I want to do the half angle, I need to multiply everything in there by a half. So I have 1/2 times 3 pi over 2 is less than 1/2 times my angle, which is less than 1/2 times 2 pi. So I multiply my restrictions by a half to figure out where that is. So I have 3 pi over 4 is less than theta over, gosh, if I could write, that would be nice, is less than theta over 2, which is less than pi. So my new angle is between 3 pi over 4 and pi. So 3 pi over 4 is right here, right? That's 3 pi over 4. And then here's pi. So this is where my half angle is going to be, somewhere in the second quadrant. So it asks, where is your half angle located? It's in quadrant 2. So then is the sine of theta over 2 going to be the positive or the negative? It is going to be positive because it's in the second quadrant, and up here, the second quadrant, your sine is positive. So you can't go from what quadrant your angle is in. You have to go for what quadrant your half angle is in based on the restrictions and the information that you have. So one more example. We have like 5 minutes. Hopefully we can get it. All right, we're going to do one more example. It's kind of a big one. But given the cosecant is 4 and your angle is in between negative root 3 over 2 and negative pi, evaluate the cosine of pi over 2 or theta over 2 and rationalize the denominator. So first we need to figure out which quadrant we're in so that we can do the half angle. So if cosecant is 4, that means your sine is 1/4, right? So this is like one thing that we have to deal with. You know what? I'm going to stop this one, upload it, and then I'm going to do, because I'm not going to get this in the next 5 minutes. So let me stop this example, and I'll come back and do one more video with this example.